Hello, it's Courtney with balancewithcourtney.com. I am passionate about helping others discover their happy and inspire them to make it a daily habit. My intention is to hack happy by interviewing experts to share their story, to inspire others, and create a happy movement. Today's happy expert is Charlotte. Charlotte is a transformation guide and worthiness coach for unique, soulful women who are ready to unleash their light, their gifts, and their true brilliance. Charlotte helps women follow their inner wisdom and intuition, heal and transform deep wounds and fractures within, and embrace their truth. Charlotte has a rich background with expertise in traditional psychotherapy, intuitive methods like dreamwork and tarot, women's circles, and deep spiritual healing of the shadow and inner child. Hello, Charlotte. Welcome.
Hello, Courtney. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Charlotte, will you share with our fans how you found your happy?
Oh, it's been a journey. Step by step. Most definitely. It's not one door I walk through, most definitely. Little step by little step. I would say each of those steps towards happy for me were infused with self-compassion and kindness. In that finding my happy, it really always comes back to being kind to myself and being compassionate to myself.
Yes, that's beautiful. Can you define what happy means to you? Everyone has their definition, or if they're searching for it, their vision of what it's like. Can you define what it's like for you?
Being happy, I think it means really being in balance and in tune with wherever I'm at, and fully in acceptance to wherever I'm at. Because as you know, some days we're up and some days we're down. Some days we're full of energy. Some days we have absolutely no energy and we just want to curl up on the couch. Some days we feel like really joyful, and other days we feel really sad. We're processing, some deep stuff that's coming to the surface. And so to me, being happy means really being in tune with wherever I am and allowing myself to be in that space and adjusting things on the outside of my life to meet the needs of wherever I'm at that day.
Ooh, yes. So kind of creating an atmosphere to grow.
Yeah, creating an atmosphere to come to peace. I think happy is also, it's like peace is so like being at peace with yourself. So for example, so if I'm having a day where I am feeling just emotional about something and I can't really understand why, like, can I schedule a call with like a dear sister or a good friend who I trust, who I can share from my heart with, and who will hold space for me so I can kind of be able to feel my way back to myself and understand what's going on with me, If I am just exhausted, like, can I take a nap? And then if I am in a place where I am, creative, and can I just carve out tons of space to to allow myself to fully take advantage of that moment where I am creative to express myself. For me, that's usually through writing. For other people, that might be other means, so, and it's really about letting go of these rules that we set for ourselves. That's for me, like, I have just let go of rules. A huge shift for me happened this year in my business, where I just started really just slashing all the rules of what I'm supposed to do this, and allowing myself to day by day, like, just feel into the flow of where my energy is at and following that, And so it's like, do I really need to create this copy by this time today? Do I really need to contact all those people right now if I'm not in the right space for it, if I'm not feeling it? You and I were talking earlier about how, I decided to make Mondays self-care days, because Mondays had turned into this restrictive day of like, okay, hit the floor running, you know, create my to-do list and create my copy, take my pictures for my social posts. And it was like so focused on everything external to me and not me, where I didn't even give my chance after the weekend, you know, because weekends are always so full of socializing. Sometimes there's family, there's so much going on. And it's like, I haven't even given myself the space to like feel into like, what do I want to do this week? Where do I want my focus to be? Where is my energy? And so how am I going to sculpt my week in terms of me rather than other people?
Right. Right. And it sounds like when you don't have lined up your heart with the action you need to take, there's nothing behind it. So what I mean is you could take your pictures, you could create your posts, you could get them out on time. But if you are not inspired in your heart, there's nothing behind it. And that's not going to attract what you want. So really the foundation is finding that first and creating a space and the freedom without rules to do it when you are ready to do it.
Right. And so the act of me writing the copy or sharing it or sharing the photos is enough. So that fills me. Like I'm doing it for me. I'm not doing it for anybody else.
Right.
And so it doesn't even matter that much like what happens from that, because I share this from my heart. I share this from a place of joy and happiness within me, rather than this place of like when we do things out of like setting rules and expectations for ourselves, then it puts so much pressure on the like reward for it, right? On the external validation that we hope to get from it.
Yes, because we put
and
so
when
much
we do it from our heart, that external validation disappears and we don't need it anymore. It's just the icing on the cake.
Yes, that is so true. I love how you just laid that out. It was beautifully put.
Yeah.
It all has to do with your intention.
Yeah.
Oh, loved that. So how do you maintain your happy and make it a daily habit?
Oh, that's a good question. So I spend time every morning before I hit my email and my social notifications and start getting back to people and doing my sessions. I spend time every morning in sacred space with myself. I am actually not an avid like meditator. I don't go in for an hour or even 30 minutes at a time. I'm talking like 10 or 15 minutes, but just that amount of time, and just really like I have an altar, I light a candle, I light some incense, and I call it dropping in. I just drop into myself. And I allow myself to root, I allow myself to connect upward, and I just sort of go through and I just feel into what is present. And whatever is present, I send love and compassion to that. So if I feel like I'm feeling a little anxious about something, you know, I'll just acknowledge it and love it. If I'm feeling a little like emotional about something, I acknowledge it and love it. If I'm feeling really excited about it, you know, so yeah, it allows me to just get really centered in myself. So it's such an important practice. And when I keep up that practice, I'm so much more centered in me for the rest of the day. Yeah. It's something that's so, so important and really easy for us to overstep and overlook when we start getting stuck in like busyness and stress and expectations and things like that.
Yeah. So focused on our to-do list.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love how you put things will drop in. And I think too much, we're so in our head and we don't give our body a chance to be heard. Mm-hmm. And when you take that time and you quiet your voice and your head, you get to listen to what your body's saying.
Yeah.
Our bodies hold so much. So what a beautiful time just to say, hey, this time's for you. Speak to me. Tell me what you want to do today, what you need some extra love on, you know, and right. you feel heard. And then you're not going externally to feel heard, right? Because you're fulfilling that for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And it can sometimes shift my day. I might be like, you know what? I had planned on doing this, but I got to go take a hike. I got to literally go into the woods today. Like, that's what I need to do. This can wait a day.
Yes. And you're allowing that to happen.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, it is the most magical day. You got so much out of that day.
Yeah. And then I just come back to whatever I had planned on doing. And, you know, it does require us to be like, it's okay, it's going to get done, you know, and just knowing and trusting it's going to get done. It's going to get done in the time that it needed to get done. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and then when you return to it, it's like, like we said before, you're grounded, you're happy. Yeah.
Yes.
And then the other piece, the other ritual to maintain my happy that's really important to me, and I mentioned this earlier, is connecting with other, women. For me, it's women.
Yes.
But whoever, whoever you feel close to. And so I had several calls. I've sort of created my schedule so that I have, it's like sprinkled throughout my week. I'll have calls with dear friends and sisters who I know and trust and love. And it keeps me sort of uplifted. It keeps me feeling really connected, held, witnessed, heard, and it just allows me spaces to talk through things, and listen too is such a gift as well, to be able to really hold space for my sisters and my friends, and yeah, just to know that wherever you're struggling with is so much bigger than you, and you're not alone in it, so that's another really important part of my week that really, really shifted me more fully into happy. It's such a place of self-care. Yeah.
With us having online businesses, it can be a lonely world. We're not going to a different location that has tons of people that we're interacting with on a regular basis. Some days we're interacting with ourselves all day long. So
exactly.
That's beautiful. Yeah. So
exactly.
That's beautiful. You set that up.
Yeah. And so it takes intention. It takes actually making this a priority, and just knowing that I can get stuck in the whole my work, and be alone. If I don't intentionally schedule calls, then I might be, for days on ends, not having any space where I'm sharing, because with my clients, I'm holding space, but no space for me. So very
exactly. Yeah. Oh, so when you're struggling, we have days where it's just not our best day. Mm-hmm. What do you do to get back into alignment?
I tell myself that it's okay. It's okay not to be okay. And so that's the first step. I mean, it's always compassion and kindness to me. It's always the first step. And not going to a place of oh my God, I'm not okay. Mm-hmm. Oh no, this place of sort of contraction and gripping the thing that's not okay and being why are you, what is happening, Yes. So it's the first step is spaciousness. Can we just exhale and be it's okay that you're not okay. Mm-hmm. And then the second piece is curiosity.
Ooh, tell me more about that.
It's simply getting curious about okay, so I'm not feeling okay. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the fact that I'm not okay. And so let me just start asking, what's that about? Why am I feeling this way? And getting curious it's not about figuring it out. It's not going into our headspace and being let me figure out why this is happening, and it's again, there's so much spaciousness around it. And it is a lot about sort of connecting into intuition and surrendering that answer to a deeper part of yourself to start to speak to you. Mm. So I'll find that if I start to get sort of curious about, if I wake up and I'm just feeling really anxious, and I start to be okay, it's okay that I'm anxious. It's not the end of the world. Everything's okay. But I wonder why. I'm feeling anxious today. And then I sort of let it go and I go shower, I start doing it, kind of going about my day, right? Things will start sort of coming through in maybe a memory will start to surface, or I'll notice myself focusing on a conversation. It's you sort of allowing your mind to sort of wander to these certain aspects. And then it's and then you start to sort of, picture starts to be sort of painted. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
Things start to click through. It's oh, that thing yesterday kind of triggered me and reminded me of that. And now I didn't realize, but beneath this, I'm actually telling myself this, and I'm putting this weight on something. something that doesn't need to be so heavy, you know? So it's like you sort of start to feel into all the little parts and see what's underneath the anxiousness and causing it. And then allowing that and some spaciousness and kindness and compassion to wherever that is. It's like, can I allow that to shift? Can I allow myself to release that?
Yeah.
Or can I just fully like embrace it and love it and be okay and like exhale and surrender, you know? So
yeah. Instead of usually we just, oh, I feel horrible today. I guess it's going to be a horrible day. And we go about our day that way. Instead, you said curious, where you're opening your heart and you're waiting for magic to pop in. You're waiting for these beautiful, inspiring reasons of why we are feeling this way.
Yeah. And
instead
then
of punishing yourself that you're not feeling good.
Yeah. And whatever surfaces may actually end up being like a beautiful post, you know, and that, because then we can, like, I call it alchemize it, right? When we release it and transform it. And maybe that reason that I was anxious is there's something really deep and good and juicy that I can share about that, you know, with my community that are going to help them, right?
Yes. And you always have that person that needed that message.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that was beautiful. Thank you.
So often we really we go into this place of sort of self-blame, you know, when those of us who are on a path of of self-improvement and spiritual living, and we tend to sort of go into a place of self-blame when we're not in that place, you know? And so it's like, how can we direct like the love that we give to others and the compassion we give to others to ourselves at those moments, you know? So knowing that we are no different from anybody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
So true. So please give our fans one last piece of advice, others out there that are struggling to find their happy.
I would say to begin to create a home for yourself within yourself that you want to live all the time. You know, because it's sort of like chicken and the egg when it comes to these like happy practices you do for yourself. You know, I think that like one flows from the other, but then the other one flows into the other. And it's definitely an inside outside experience. You know, we create rituals and practices in order to keep us in balance. But then we want to definitely staying in balance, and the inside then makes it so much easier for us to maintain and create those practices on the outside. So it's really to start thinking about like, how can I be at home with myself, inside myself, so that whatever is happening on the outside, you know, like as if yourself is a house, and you know, the house is going to weather storms. It's going to be like windstorms and rainstorms and tornadoes and all these things happening outside yourself that you can't control. You can't control how people react to you, behave to you. You're going to be kind of shot down often. Things aren't going to go your way. So how can you sort of build your sense of like really stability inside yourself so that you can just come home to yourself and just be with yourself when, you know, because you always have yourself. And so how can you enjoy being with yourself all the time? That makes sense?
Oh, it makes beautiful sense. That was beautiful. I think of my stuffed animal panda bear when I was a young girl. You know, that was my home. Whenever I was sad, I would grab my panda and give it a big hug, and I was okay. And we can find that internally. That is our home. We can just come back to who we are and we'll be okay. It's beautiful. And I also know there's a lot out there about setting up morning routines and doing the same thing every day. And I think of those sometimes as like a prescription. And what if the pills aren't there? Then are we not going to have a good day?
Right.
So it's also important to be able to find it within yourself. So if you don't have the candle you need or the crystal you need or the tarot cards, you can still find your inner peace. You're happy without all of that.
Right. And so I think that like developing happy is really, is exactly like you said, is not relying on anything or anyone external to you to be in control of your happy. And so it is really it's learning how to spend more and more and more time with yourself, in yourself, and developing that relationship with yourself that is loving and kind and joyful.
Yes.
So that you can, exactly, be there.
Yes. Yeah, when we don't really find out who we are, yet we're putting ourselves out in the world, we're kind of false advertising. You know? I don't think people realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was beautiful. Thank you so much. And I actually would love to share how you impacted me. And it is something I, to this day, have done every morning. Once again, if I don't have my cards, I'm still okay. But the tarot, I watched a video when I first discovered you, and you had talked about drawing a tarot card every morning to work on your intuition and listening to your inner guidance. And I picked these cards that, looking at them, I was like, I have no idea what this means, right? Because I wanted to be a challenge. I didn't want to pick a real easy card that it was very obvious. And every morning I pick a card and I close my eyes and I ask, what does this card mean to me? And I will journal forever on that one card and get so many things. It has been life-changing for me, and I want to thank you for that. It has opened me up to use my imagination and creativity. Every morning I start that way. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. And I integrate that into my morning practice as well. I only preach what I practice. So yes, every morning I too draw a tarot card. And for me, using these tools that exist outside of us are only helpful when we find, like you do, and like you did, the internal meaning, how that card sparks our intuition, our creativity, and find it within ourselves. So.
Yeah, and it's so exciting because every morning you're like, what am I going to learn about me today? Yeah. Yeah, it's so beautiful. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Gosh, here's mine.
So will you tell our fans how they can get in contact with you and follow you?
Sure. So you can find me on Facebook at Char.Elea. And you can find me at my website at bigbeautifulbreakthrough.com. Right now, I have such a focus on worthiness, which is really all about creating that home within yourself, that home that you want to hang out with all day with yourself.
Beautiful.
And so if you go to my website, I actually have a worthiness quiz, and you can find out your key, the key to really discovering that sense of self-worth. And if you sign up, then you get a whole PDF that really goes deep into your key and gives you some practices and everything. So that's on my website.
That sounds like a beautiful first step of discovering yourself.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for taking your time for us and for your growth. I hope you discovered new habits to support your happiness. Please reach out with questions, or if you need more support, in our Happy Balance Facebook group. I did it too. And at balancewithcourtney.com. Thank you so much.